All right, so let's get this rolling here. This is take 3, figuring out how to work recording software. I don't know anything about doing YouTube or recording things. So, yeah, a lot of conversations with AI to figure this out. But let's get into it. So, I'm a growth partner. I buy, build, and sell companies. That's all I do. It's all I've ever done. Like if Alex Hormozy had a less successful, less jacked, somewhat degenerate cousin, kind of like that. All right, so here we go. 0 to 75K a month with a small micro software company, whatever you want to call it. Industry is a niche within e-commerce, and it is very targeted to that particular niche. Doesn't work on every e-commerce business, so it's a super focused business. I think as you're starting, that is absolutely the key, is to like focus on a particular customer, like a sub segment. The founder is in the industry, so has some street cred, has done the thing, knows what is valuable in a software tool, and basically built this for his own business and was like, wow, this is something I should just, sell. So that's ultimately what happened, but it was tested rigorously on his and had obviously created a lot of social proof that way. But let's get into what we did well. Okay, over the past year, the software launched in, let's say, March, end of February, early March, something like that. So we're coming up on a year here, year to 12 to 13 months, I guess I should say. And well, I'll get into the revenue in a second. But for launch, so what did we do? We built a wait list. We built up, I think, 5,000 to 6,000 emails. We put together a Notion doc, and basically I asked the founder, I said, well, what do you have? And he had some training resources because he does a bit of coaching on the side. So I was like, okay, well, what can we package that would be super duper valuable, right? All the sauce. Give me all the answers. Because here's the thing, you're going to put it in a thing and nobody's going to do anything with it. So basically we put together a package that, the gurus in the e-com space would charge thousands of dollars for, use that as a lead magnet. Obviously started building a wait list, nurtured the wait list with, weekly emails, nothing crazy. It may have even been like on average bi-weekly. And then ultimately what we did was we launched it via $997 annual subscription, so a significant discount to retail price, of course. And we did 2 webinars. Show rates were not great. It was his first time doing webinars. Like this was, start sloppy and figure it out. And we did that, but we ended up doing a little bit over a 2x ROAS. So, we doubled our money on ad spend. So we obviously recovered our ad spend and then, had a little bit of cash in the bank. And, if you were to say pay that all out, which we didn't, but if you paid that all back out to the shareholders, we would have, recovered a decent chunk of our development costs, believe it or not. We did not spend a ton on development. I don't quite know exactly how much. Maybe we might have spent more than I think, maybe like 50. But anyway, didn't spend a ton. I know people who spend millions and never launch. In fact, I worked on a deal that spent $1.5 million and never launched the product, and then it died. Because they wouldn't listen to me, frankly. We scaled MRR. The next move was, okay, how do we get MRR to scale? So what we did, I'll go over in a second, but we eventually got MRR to about 30K a month, and this was like just a slog, man. Just trying to get people in, trying to activate them, trying to keep them. We did not increase prices since we launched, so that's probably something we could mess with this year. Price increases are just a fantastic way to just increase profit. And I think people don't use that lever enough because they are afraid. But what they don't realize is that most people who come into your funnel don't know what you used to charge. So, around current customers, just keep them at the same price. Paid ads to free trial to a 50% conversion rate got us to a $650 LTV on average. So paid ads, these are usually pain-based advertising or aspirational-based advertising. So I am an 8-figure, Amazon seller, and I got here by doing this thing, unique mechanism, sign up for a free trial now, right? Something like that. Or, if you're, stuck at XYZ point, here's how I overcame that obstacle. Sign up for free trial now. And the idea is that you want to sort of like make creative focused, again, largely on pain, calling out your specific avatar, even hard qualifying them. So if you're doing at least $10,000 a month, listen up, right? This is for you, that kind of a thing. And you want to create like significant diversity of creative. So, we have him film probably 5 to 10 ads a week, because we don't spend that much. But if we were spending, say, 3, 5, 7K a day, he would be filming 30 ads a week, right? So it's just, you have to ramp it up based on the volume. But we don't spend actually a ton on this funnel. We have tried to scale it, and we've sort of, capped it, and then our CAC starts to go through the roof. So we're working on trying to break through that ceiling now. As soon as I have an update on how we did that, I will tell you. All right. 50% trial conversion. So this is actually something to pay attention to. So that means people go from free to paid, but it doesn't say how long they stayed for, right? And our big drop-off point is before 2 months. So usually the people who convert from free to paid, they stay either for a very short period of time or they cancel within that first month. And this is not because they're using the product and they're like, this product stinks. It's because they never log in and now they're paying for something they've never used, right? So that is what I call activation. And activation is a bear of a challenge, which I will go over, okay? But, I consider 50% conversion to be pretty good. I should put a metric together around how many people activate. I don't have that metric handy, but I'll dig that up. How we are... And by the way, you gotta love my spelling here. Subscribers. That's supposed to say subscribers, but I am stupid and I don't know how to spell because of spell check. So anyway, we're only sending people who are on the highest paid plan, so the most expensive plan. So they sign up as a subscriber, they or a free trial, whatever. They pick their plan, and then they end up paying and staying. Those are the people we send to the pixel. Everybody else does not go back to Facebook. And what we're doing there is we're saying, Facebook, only send me more people like this for this particular funnel. Okay, that's a critical qualification criteria for your advertising. This is something we did well, but we should have done sooner. So we tripled our LTV with paid webinars. It's a free webinar where we are selling a product on the back end. So, if you think about, LTV of $650-ish, multiply that by 3, that's kind of what you're getting. And the best part of that is you're capturing that up front. So technically I don't know the LTV because these people are buying an annual subscription with some like little bonuses to try to increase the value stack. And obviously they're getting it at a significant discount if they were to go and just buy the free or pay monthly, right? So it'd be $2,500 a month, or a year if they were to buy the monthly plan. They can essentially like get a huge discount. They get all the extra bonuses you wouldn't even get, even if you bought the annual plan on the website, right? And you're getting it at a significant discount. So we tested price points. Usually we started at $1,000. That was like the launch price. And then we've tested all the way up to $1,500. And we're going to go to $2,000 here shortly. And we'll probably just add a little bit more value on the back end for that. And that has been wildly successful. We've had a lot of people who really, really like that product. And we're now running that weekly. We should have started doing this way sooner, even just monthly. We should have started doing it sooner. But like webinars are, if you can crack webinars, give me any business and I'll scale it with webinars. I know tons of people who do, 8 figures a year just with webinar funnels. So we're running them weekly as of through January. And that was when we cracked, this was really the thing that cracked us from 30K a month in just MRR to 75K last month. So we went from 30 to 75K in a month just because of implementing weekly webinars. So there you go. There's your growth hack. Go do that and do it consistently. So we're going to probably do bi-weekly now. We were profitable from the start. So I am a cash flow Nazi. So I only care about cash flow. If you're one of these builders who is like, oh, I don't care about cash flow, I just want to scale acquisition. Okay, I get it. If you want to go be whatever, some giant company, and you can afford to lose money and you've got outside capital and all this other shit. I would rather go buy watches and Ferraris right now instead of 10 years from now, maybe selling for more money. I don't care. And I am somebody who's sold over $100 million in companies. So yeah, it's an uncertain potential outcome with a, I would say under 50% probability of occurring the way you think it's going to occur. So focus on profit. Okay. And we've been profitable from the start, and that has allowed us to, 1, make money, and 2, like personally make money, the shareholders make money, and 2, can still continue to scale the business. Just be more profitable. right? And then you can do both. And I talk to people all the time. I have a portfolio company that does 2.8 million a year, and they are, retarded. Like they cannot make profit, and it's very, very frustrating to work with them because they make the wrong decisions. They focus on the wrong things, and I scale faster than them, by the way. So I don't want to hear that argument. We kept devs under control, back to profit. So developers will eat you alive. I love developers. I think they're super helpful. AI is obviously making their lives a little bit trickier, but great developers will know how to use AI to their advantage. It will weed out the bad ones. But we eventually got to a point where we set a cap for monthly spend on development. So we're only going to spend X every month on development. We will not spend $1 more. So stop working on XYZ project unless we had a massive emergency or something like that. But that doesn't really happen. What usually happens with software deals is you want to keep building the next feature and building the next feature and building the next feature, and then you always forget about making money. So what this does is it forces you to not do that and forces you to actually make money. So I see this all the time with technology people. They're never done building anything, like ever. It never stops. So you have to stop building and you have to start making money. And then when you start making money and you want to add another feature, what I would do is I would pre-sell the shit out of the feature. Like it's not even built yet. I would just go sign people up for it and be like, okay, if this doesn't work or you don't like it, actually what I would do is I would do a paid beta. So like you're going to get in first. We're only selling 100 slots of this and it's, $500. Okay, cool. Well, you just made, whatever the math is on that, $50,000 to pre-sell. So now you paid for the development. That's the only way I would do that, right? Everybody else just wants to pre-build stuff. And I have like friends who have like been working on softwares for like 2 years. It's fucking retarded. All right. Data. So you need to have this continuous feedback loop in your business. That is absolutely critical, like a brain essentially. And you've got to be able to harvest that data. So you want to develop the KPIs that matter the most. This can be a giant rabbit hole and you can have like 400 KPIs and that's not good. I would say your North Stars need to be maybe 5 to 10. For me, it's, cash collected is always super important. As you could tell, our free trial to paid conversion rate, LTV, CAC. Obviously I'm monitoring all the relevant advertising metrics that you would want. Cost per click, cost per conversion, ROAS, all that kind of stuff, right? ROAS at different points. So ROAS within 30 days, ROAS at 3 months, right? Like ROAS on LTV, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are the things you want to pay attention to. Obviously we're tracking MRR, we're tracking revenue, right? So these are just like high level metrics, but you need to review these every single week. And then doing monthly P&L teardowns. So this is like where you find the, like in your own personal finances, like you've been paying for a subscription you haven't used in 6 months. Well, that happens in business all the time. And so like if you're not reviewing your financials and looking at what you're spending, that's a problem. So for us, it was, our hosting was just like, so this tool has like, it pulls and aggregates and crunches like massive quantities of data. So like our hosting and the back end was built relatively inefficiently because we had unlimited API calls. Well, that's now changing. So, we have to basically revamp this whole thing and get our, it's actually going to be a good thing because it's going to drop our costs significantly, our data and storage costs. So anyway, you got to be paying attention to these things consistently, not just like one time. What did we absolutely suck at? Email deliverability. This is such a important thing, and we just shit the bed. So email deliverability is good email deliverability is probably one of the biggest weapons. I would put it up there with paid acquisition. I would put it up there with high quality organic. Like email is such a tool. So the challenge I found is that it's very difficult to actually do email to like a warm list and do it well because it requires a significant investment. So I have a company that we use on our bigger portfolio companies for email deliverability, but it's like 10 grand a year. And this company obviously didn't have the money to do that. I could have written the check, but it's like, I want these companies to finance themselves for the most part. And so in hindsight, is that short-sighted? Yeah, maybe. But I think there's some little things you can do in the beginning. So the number one thing to know with email is the providers want it to be a two-way conversation. So they don't want you to just be like one directionally spamming the shit out of your out of your email subscribers. So you can implement a very simple response campaign with a bribe. So if you respond, to this email, I'm doing a check-in with you. Where are you at in your business? Where are you at in life? Whatever. Tell me, give me the dirt. And simply, if you respond, and you could say anything, you don't have to say anything in particular. I will give you X, right? That should be something valuable and interesting. And what that does is it tells the providers that you're actually having a two-way conversation. Those little things start to add up. Another thing is always tell your customers to check their spam and mark not as spam, and then tell them to reply. So if you have a setter who is working with someone and maybe they didn't get their their email, for example, to access their tool. Okay, cool. Well, I want you to go into your spam right now. I want you to mark that email not as spam, and I want you to reply received. Right? Every time you do that, these little unscalable things actually do matter. The other one is obviously throw your domain on a warm up. This is something we just absolutely did not do a good job of. We've now gotten it sorted, but it took us more time than I would have liked. We did not do enough monthly promotions, and you can do like discounts. You don't even have to do big discounts. You just need to be in front of your audience more with email. Again, we were sitting together as a team. We're like, hey, we haven't run a promo in, I don't even know, a long time. Maybe since we launched, and we now are at Halloween. Let's do like a little Halloween special. We crafted some cute little, funny email around Halloween. It was like 2 or 3 email series or something like that. Expires at this point, midnight on Halloween. You've got 24 hours, grab it. We added $650 in MRR. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, right? But if you do that every single month, do the math for a small SaaS. Like, that's meaningful versus just not doing it all. It's like you're turning away free MRR just by not doing this, and it costs you no money. Like the AI wrote the email, right? Like you just have to edit it and make it personal. Another one of my lovely spelling blunders. You guys are gonna love this. My spelling is so bad. Not launching a medium ticket sooner. So we sort of did this, but like we originally launched the product at $9.97 on a webinar, annual subscription, no real bonuses or anything like that. Just a, hey, like this is our launch special kind of a deal. And we just stopped doing that because we're stupid and poor, and that was dumb. So I would totally do that sooner. I would at least do 1 webinar a month. I would consistently be doing weekly webinars though. For any business you have, I don't care how small it is. I just don't care. Develop a medium to high ticket offer, sell it via a webinar, like direct to cart. Okay. Unless it's like over 5K. The most I've ever sold for any business direct to cart on a webinar, we just did this last week, was 4K, and it was relatively successful. That webinar did just under 5x ROAS. So yeah, I would say that could work. But usually like what I find like the easy price points where you can capture a lot of sales is in this like $997 to $2,000 price point where it's valuable enough, but it's still like, okay, I can throw that on my credit card. Not that big of a deal. Activation. And I think this is something that you like, I'm no genius in software. This is the first software company I built, which, I built plenty of other businesses, but like software specifically. And I think activation is just one of those things everybody struggles with, right? How many people sign up for a free trial and you never use it, you never log in? I've done that, right? And then you cancel. You get hit with the bill. You're like, why are you billing me? Yeah, because like you signed up for this thing, you dumbass. So that's basically human nature, and especially in today's economy online, where there's zillions of little offers that you see and you sign up for and you forget about because now you're getting the next thing, and your shiny object syndrome has you working on something else. So activation is really hard. And for us, what is activation? It's not just signing up for a trial. It's actually going and getting a win, right? What is the point in time where that person experiences the benefit of the product that you're selling? And so for us, we found that people who are truly activated have paid twice. So they've made 2 monthly payments. And beyond that, they generally stay. Like 90% of them stay. For up to the LTV point, so whatever that is, 6 to 7 months is the average. So like that's the point we want to get them to, and how do we get them there? We did not do a good enough job of that, and so we're just like bleeding users within this 1 to 2 month period of time, and that's something we've worked really, really hard. I'll get on that more on that in a second, but that's a big challenge. founder was doing onboarding calls. This was like a gift and a curse, right? So the gift is you're getting on the call on onboarding call with a founder. We can sell that in the advertising. We can sell that in the on the landing page. We can make them aware of that when they're actually scheduling their call. Like make sure you show up. You're getting on the phone with the founder of this company, who is, by the way, a multi-8-figure seller in your space. Like, what the heck? This is incredibly valuable. Don't give me shit about that not being scalable. You're right, but who cares if you're broke and poor and you don't have any customers? Like, do unscalable shit. So that was actually I think I just turned a negative into a positive. But what ended up happening is he ended up getting like calendar fatigue. Like he had just no more time, and it just was no longer a useful thing. So we brought on a setter, which I'll talk about, who then takes these onboarding calls. We were shit at gathering testimonials. We had people who just like were posting in the community and giving us like good feedback, but we had no real process for gathering feedback. Although like people were getting really incredible results. All right, that's it. Now, where are we going in 2026? So February we should hit 100K, and we're doing that mostly through webinar funnels. Like I said, the paid acquisition free trial funnel is evergreen. That doesn't stop, doesn't turn off. And we are actively working on trying to scale spend there because our CAC looked pretty good this month. So as long as CAC stays in check, for me, that's about $80 per customer, meaning per person who goes through a free trial and signs up. What does that cost us? It's about $80, and do your math. What does it cost us on the front end to get a free trial? Average is about 40, right? So that's 50%. All right. So what else are we doing? Going to be doing monthly email promos. So webinars, weekly webinars, monthly email promos consistently, trying to push people to an MRR, for a monthly free trial. Improving activation. So we implemented a setter. Setter is now taking all onboarding calls. So we're still giving people the onboarding calls. So they're helping them get set up. They're walking them through the software, helping them understand where they're at in their business. What the software is a rather not complex, but it's robust. It has a lot of different things that you can benefit from. So what happens is sometimes people get like overwhelmed and they don't know where to start. So, the job in the onboarding call is to get them set up, get their data in there, again, trying to make them sticky, but also make sure that they're aware of what they should be working on. Okay, the software has 5 tools. You should be using this one tool for now until you get to X point. And when you get to X point in time, then you're going to do this, but don't worry about that. I'm going to give you homework. And that's kind of the next call. So on the call, on the back end of the onboarding call, the setter is going and booking the next call. So bam, fam. Book a meeting from a meeting. And that meeting is going to be, okay, I'm giving you this homework. Go do these 3 things. On your next call, we're going to check in and we're going to make sure those things are actually done and that you've done what you need to do. And if not, we're going to diagnose why. And then 3-step process. That was only 2 steps. That was the second call. Second call is a check-in, 20, 30 minutes. Did you do them? Yes, no. Troubleshoot. What happened? Why? Okay, let's set intentions. 2 weeks from now, we're going to meet again. That's the third and final call. And the goal of the third call is by the time they get to that point, they should have received the outcome that you want. So that's like the big win for your tool is like, what does it create? What effect is it? For us, it's, make you more profitable on all of your product acquisition and have better clarity into like your pipeline of what products you're buying to be able to actually scale your business. And so, so they should get that win. And if they haven't, then you just set another meeting and make sure that they do it. The idea here is we're hoping to get a 10 to 25% lift in activation. So increasing the number of people who make 2 payments or more, or people who ascend to the annual subscription. Okay, adding high ticket coaching. So once they've gone through, they're comfortable with us, they know, trust us, they've gotten wins. Maybe some of those people want more help, and we could charge 3, 5, 7K for a 12-week coaching program to really accelerate their business, working directly with the founder who has done the thing, right? He's the real deal. Now that's purely a cash flow play, right? So, there's probably no enterprise value there, but so what? And then the scaling past 250K a month, that would be a combination of both coaching and software. I think we can get software to 150, pretty soon. I think we'll crack 100 this month, I imagine. Next month we could probably hit 150. So the idea would be adding about $100 to $200,000 a month in coaching. I think we could, like, truthfully, I think we can get this thing to 500K a month. But yeah, 250 would be great to do within, I would say, the next 6 months. And then being better at gathering testimonials, right? So like, just do better. And that also, this goes back to the 3-step process. So at that third call, hopefully you're celebrating wins, right? That's the goal of the third call. And those calls are all recorded. So they're recorded for a couple of reasons. One, for marketing purposes. Two, you get incredible voice of customer on those calls. And so you can dump all that information into AI, and once you have enough of it, it can pretty much synthesize, like, these are the common pain points, these are the sticking points, this is where people are getting stuck in your activation process. And like, order it in frequency of, like, how many times does this come up, that come up. It's gold. So make sure that you are recording these things. And that's kind of our process for gathering testimonials, is we'll pull all those calls and transcribe them, and then use it, use them in our marketing materials. So this is like a little indication of what's possible, or a little bit of funny math. So if I can get software, let's just say SaaS, to 150K a month, what does that look like? Okay, well, that's 1.8 million a year. Software valuations are the cool thing about software is it's sold based on revenue multiples. Now, software valuations, I won't go deep into this, but they're getting compressed because everybody's afraid of AI. I think that's a little bit silly, but I don't know. I can't predict the future. And like, you would just incorporate AI into your software, and it actually makes the tools more valuable and powerful. But nonetheless, I won't get into that. But let's just say, you can get it, you can get let's say a 2 to 3x EV, revenue multiple. And this is a super profitable software. Like, we're currently at, 40+% profit. I think we're more than that, but so this thing's making 60K a month in pure cash. What is that worth? Well, is it worth 3.5? Is it worth 5.5? Let's just say 4, right? That's that would be like a 2.5 multiple. So, in 2 years, let's say end of this year, we hit those targets, you have, a $4.5 million business. This is like what's possible if you actually have a good product and you know what you're doing. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, I'll be sharing more tactics and tools in a very informal, non-fancy, free-flowing, unedited format just like this. So hope that was helpful.